I hope that you all are having a fantastic day. Going to be diving in and looking at NIO, or ticker symbol NIO. It's been a little bit since I've made a video, but we are continuing this upward trend. It has been almost 3 months now that we will have seen NIO trending to the upside, and from these lows down here around 116, we have seen about 120% gain so far from those lows up here around the 272 range. So if you recall in my last video, which you may or may not have seen, no big deal. It was right towards the end of November, so we had just double topped right in here. I'll zoom it in close. So we had hit this double top, and we actually sold back down. And then we made a quick run back up, and I mentioned that the 240 or 248 was really the level I was looking at, but 240 and 260 were areas of resistance. So we double topped, pulled down, and then we started trending back up closer to this 260 level. And then before we hit it, we had a wick that got pretty close. We were within a couple pennies of it. But then we sold quickly back down. And here on the 4-hour chart, we were able to find support right here on the 100-day and 50-day moving averages. We consolidated right in here around 220. And now we have continued back up, and we have pushed back through this 240 resistance and this 260 resistance. So when I pull this out further, you can see where I'm getting those resistance levels from. So here was our 240 back down here from these lows in mid-June, and then we had a couple times that we bounced on 260, also in late June, and then back here in early September. So now as we move forward, if this trend continues, I think the next area that we are going to see some resistance is going to be right in here in the 280s, basically to the $3 price point. So if we mark it from, say, call it 285, I think I have this one at 287. But the mid 280s up to probably about $3, especially because that's going to be a round dollar. And again, on the penny stocks, usually at the 50-cent and dollar increments, you're going to see a support or resistance. And especially here with the $3 price point, if we go to a daily, let's see if we can show it here. So we had this, it was a big gap. So we are holding $3. I'll move it in a little bit closer. So right in here, we were holding our $3 price point. We had traded back up above it, and then we gapped down, or we moved down below $3. We closed below $3, and then we gapped down from there. And there was earnings that day, but have to think if there are people who are still sitting in NIO that they just said screw it, I'm just gonna bag hold it. Currently they're looking pretty lucky because we're getting closer to that $3 price point. But again, if we get there and those bag holders want out, they just want to get their money back out of NIO, you can look to see a nice significant pullback, or we could see this momentum continue to carry through. But now there are potentially two scenarios. If we come up to this $3 price point right in here, you could see something where we gain some momentum and we poke that $3 price point and then we shoot straight back down before consolidating, or we may hit it and just have a small little pullback before consolidating and moving higher. Or that could just be the top of this little run, and we could start to see this continue to deteriorate. But looking at the weekly chart, we're looking pretty good. We are now trading above. I know this is kind of a mess, but here's our 9-day moving average, which we have not really traded above for a long period of time since, goodness, I think it was like the beginning of this year. It's been some time. Yeah, so back here was when we started to trend up, and we were up above the 9-day moving average. And then once we broke down below it, we've been below. We tried to make a run above it a couple times, and then we sold back down. And now, from right here mid November, we cracked above it. We held a couple weeks just steady on it, and now we're starting to press up, and we're coming up on the 50-day moving average. Will be our next little resistance here on the weekly that we will have to overcome. But you can see it's already looking like it's going to flatten out. So if we start to consolidate here, we slowly start to press higher, we will start to see the 50 flatten out, and it might, we might be able to break above and continue this trend higher. But again, that moving average is right around that $3 price point. That's again why I'm thinking that this $3 price point is going to be a little bit of a toughie to crack through. But if this is a true sign that we have changed the trend here in NIO from this consistent downward bearish trend, and now we're starting to see some positive gains, some positive business aspects here from NIO, then we can look to see investors continue to put their money into NIO and move through some of these stronger resistances. So that's really just my take on NIO here. We've been trending very well for 3 months now. When we reached these resistances, while we had a big pullback here, we had a little bit of a pullback here, but we're really just cruising along. We're starting to see the volume increase a good bit, so it's a good sign that there's more people stepping in. And I say that in comparison to back here when we were seeing just a continued deterioration of the price. We were seeing lower volume, so it's nice to see that there's some more people piling in, and we're seeing some good green days. You can see here on Friday we were up about 2.5%. So my target would be to see where we get up here around the 285 mark. What's the reaction? I do believe that we will continue to trend up that way. Maybe a pullback to the 260 level before we get there. That's always a possibility. Maybe something like this where we get close to that 285 or 280 mark, and then we see a quick pullback to support, maybe around 260, before trending back up and shooting for that $3 mark as a price target. So that's just my take on NIO. Hopefully you guys gained a little bit of insight from what I see here, and maybe you can take that and implement it in your trading. So thank you guys for watching.